Mr. Spanier, Mr. Curley, Mr. Schultz did nothing to protect the youngsters who were seen with Mr. Sandusky in their presence, who were known to be with him after an incident occurred in 1998 that we now know they all knew about. It is a crying shame that this thing happened and it went on for so long. 14 long, horrible years at Penn State when men in power knew and understood that there was a pedophile running around the campus, garbed as a man of position and power and importance.
What does this report and the investigation suggest to you in terms of strengthening the cases that you're all ready to bring against the university? What stood out to you that says this is more than we even knew before?
Well, this report comes with the imprimatur of a former FBI director and federal judge who has done essentially our preliminary discovery for civil litigation. Here is a template, a roadmap, a guidebook, a resource manual for all who now need to come. Not only lawyers who are going to bring civil cases, but the Attorney General's office, the Department of Education, as well as the NCAA. It's all in a roadmap and a guidebook now, and it centers on the incidents that I've been talking about now for months. 1998, when there was a mother who said, "This man is showering with my young boy," leading to 2000, when a janitor sees this a pedophile in the shower with a young boy, to Mr. McQuarrie in February of 2001, and then the horrible thing happens to the young man I represent. August of 2001, he's molested in the shower by the same man who was known to be a pedophile, by Spanier, Curley, Schultz, and yes, Mr. Paterno.
What did your client make of that Mr. Paterno, according to this report, knew about the 1998 incident and followed that investigation closely? Is something we hadn't heard before.
Well, one thing that surprised me about the Freeh Report was his inability to connect the dots between the 1998 incident, which they all knew about, and the all of a sudden still dressed up as a resignation of Mr. Sandusky, the most prominent defensive line coach in American college football in 1999. Now, Mr. Freeh is very careful. I respect the conclusions. I'm not looking to denigrate them here, but I've been looking to connect the dots between that, what I believe has to be, by circumstantial evidence, a phony resignation, and the knowledge of the people at Penn State about it. That's the dot I was looking to connect. I don't see it in the Freeh Report.
Does this simply add teeth to the guilty conviction that we saw?
Well, I think that there is an interesting understanding and recognition by Penn State itself, its Board of Trustees and others, as well as Mr. Freeh, former FBI director and federal judge, that Mr. Sandusky is now a convicted pedophile. There's no issue anymore as to whether Mr. Sandusky was or wasn't a pedophile. Mr. Sandusky was the perpetrator. Penn State, tragically, sadly, unfortunately, was the enabler. And that's the headline that we have here today.
What do you think should happen to Graham Spanier?
Oh, I leave it to the authorities, the federal authorities, law enforcement, as well as the state to make determinations as to what should happen to Mr. Spanier. But I can tell you, as a critical eye, 33 years at the bar, that the conduct by Mr. Spanier is unthinkable. Unthinkable for a university president to have done what he did. He, Mr. Curley, Mr. Schultz, and Mr. Paterno collaborated and conferred in 2001. The four of them collaborated and conferred in 2001 and made a conscious decision to do nothing to protect the young children that they knew for years, back to 1998, were being victims of Sandusky. Sandusky paraded children around like trophies. He paraded children through the locker room. He was naked with children in the locker room. He was seen by a janitor. He was seen by an assistant coach. It was known by Coach Paterno, by Mr. Spanier, by Mr. Curley, by Mr. Schultz. The four men who Mr. Freeh tells us literally were the university powers. and they did nothing. It is a large, huge American tragedy that tragically falls at our doorstep here in Pennsylvania.
Can't a similar sentiment be said for the Attorney General's office from 2009 to 2011, letting Sandusky walk freely, basically, until he was arrested in November of 2011?
Well, I don't look to law enforcement authorities to try to start to point blame. I look to where it happened. Those people at Penn State had authority. We had a situation here where literally persons in positions from the janitor to the president, imagine that, from the janitor to the president knew and understood in 1998, some of them, 2000 a janitor, 2001, they all knew that he was a grave threat. Put aside the categorization. They knew a pedophile. Spanier, Schultz, Curley, Paterno knew that this man was a grave threat to children, yet he was parading children around like they were trophies. My word, what more could be said for how terrible the conduct was?